Welcome back to the Tech Talks Daily podcast, where we dive deep in the world of technology and the impact on our lives and our work, and even world on occasion. And I'm your host, Neil Hughes, and today we have a very special guest joining us. She is a multi-winning marketing thought leader who has been shaping the industry for over 25 years. She is the founder and president of KEO Marketing, which is a top B2B marketing agency that has helped Fortune 1000 companies and mid-market businesses across 100 plus countries and help them scale faster with a well-rounded, goal-orientated marketing plans. But what about technology? How is that impacting the world of marketing? What is MarTech? What is generative AI? What does it all mean when it's put in together? Well, Sheila will share her insights on the big tech trends that she's seeing, and also some practical advice on the common marketing mistakes, actionable marketing tips for entrepreneurs, and how to scale your business faster with a fractional CMO. I will also discuss the point that 20% of clients typically deliver 80% of the revenue for most companies. So what does that mean around marketing strategies and the role of technology and improving that? Well, buckle up and hold on tight, because today I'm going to beam your ears all the way to Naples in Florida, where Sheila is waiting to share her stories, her origin story, thoughts, insights, and so much more today. So a massive warm welcome to the show. Can you tell the listeners a little about who you are and what you do?
Hey, thank you, Neil. I'm excited to be on your show. I'm Sheila Kloefkorn. I'm CEO and founder of KEO Marketing. We are a full-service business-to-business marketing agency. And put simply, we generate and expand leads to fill sales pipelines.
And there's so much going on in the world of MarTech or marketing technology at the moment that I'm interested in talking with you about. But before we do, can I ask you share your origin story, where it all began for you in the marketing industry, from sitting in a small marketing firm in New York City to founding KEO Marketing?
Great, thank you. Yeah, my background actually isn't in marketing. I have a bachelor's degree in political science with an emphasis in the Soviet Union and psychology. And I have a master's degree in higher education administration. And what that says about me is that I love learning about all kinds of new things. I ended up, when I was working at Arizona State University, had the chance to go and interview with a startup marketing agency in New York City, and ultimately became one of the first 5 employees that became a $100 million marketing agency focused on reaching young adults and teens. During the .com era in around 2000, we grew that agency over about 8 years. It was a wonderful opportunity to learn marketing from some of the best minds in marketing. And once we sold that agency, that's when I started KEO Marketing. And it was one of those times I had been living in Phoenix and commuting to New York, and I had to decide, was I going to fully move to New York or not? And my family elected to stay in Arizona. And so I started my own agency and have built that up over the last 23 years.
Wow, what a great story. And before we dive into the world of technology and how that has impacted marketing, you must have seen so many huge changes in the industry throughout the years. And in your experience, I'm curious, what are some of the biggest or most common mistakes that you see companies make in marketing? And are there any actionable tips that entrepreneurs could implement to increase profits and the value of their business? Because I know that's a hot topic that so many people are thinking about right now.
Well, you might laugh that the first and probably biggest mistake that I think most business owners make, and particularly in tech, and we mostly do tech marketing, is that we believe that our product is awesome, and we believe that other people will automatically know that. So usually when you go to a technology-oriented website, it says, we do this and this and this, and it uses some acronyms, and it makes total sense to an engineer. But for the visitor to that website or product brochure or what have you, what it means is they have to do some mental gymnastics to say, okay, they do these things, I have these problems, and I think that I don't even know what those acronyms are, but I think they could probably solve my problems. And anytime we expect a visitor or a prospect or a customer to try to figure out what it is we do and whether it's good for them, I can tell you what happens. They typically leave. They typically do not elect to go with you. And so the first and most essential part of marketing is your messaging. You've got to determine, who does what I have solve a problem for, and what are their pain points? And if my marketing can go to that target market that really can benefit from what you do, and we talk about and express that your company can solve that better than anybody else, and that you understand their pain points, your sales are going to skyrocket, because those visitors or prospects are going to say, wow, they totally get me. This is amazing. Yes, I want to work with them. And so that's really the biggest part of marketing, is just making sure that you know who you're sending, who you solve problems for, what are their pain points, and you can tell a really compelling story about how you solve them.
100% with you on that. And I was recently at the Adobe Summit in Las Vegas, and that was one of the big topics there, and the importance of storytelling in delivering that message. And the other big headline, of course, was generative AI. Everything, all the new products announced was generative AI, this, that, etc. As this is a tech podcast, I've got to ask you, what's your opinion on AI and advertising, and how do you see AI shaping the future of marketing and advertising, and the potential benefits or challenges for business as a result of that?
I think it's an incredibly exciting time. So as I mentioned, when I left that big marketing agency in New York, it was really right around the .com bubble bursting. And it was an exciting time. The internet was the new big thing. And right now, today, generative AI represents the same watershed opportunity for all business, but marketing in particular as well. Generative AI is about using machine learning and AI to help pull together information and have conversations and create solutions much, much faster that humans can't do themselves. And so there are a lot of things that generative AI can help with for marketing. Today, currently, it can't write in your voice. It can't tell your story the way that you would, but it can certainly help your marketers on your team or your agencies pull together quality ideas and ask better questions. And so the way that we use it, a lot of our writers will use it to flesh out, let's say, the topic for a blog or the subheadings for a blog and some ideas. And it really helps the creative process. It's not a substitute for actual copywriting. It's not the substitute for actual strategy, which is to know your customer and how you can serve them. But it can be a helpful tool. And I think that's the most important thing about generative AI right now, is that it's a helpful tool to help you create better than ever before.
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head there with the word tool. It is a tool, or some companies are calling it a co-pilot as well. It's not going to replace anybody, but it just speeds up that entire creative process and makes you move so much quicker than you could without it. And I'm curious, are there any other tech trends that particularly excite you at the moment?
Well, that's the big one, really. I mean, generative AI is really exciting, but there are other aspects of AI that are also really powerful. So, if you're doing Google advertising, you know that AI is a big part of your bidding strategy today. So understanding how to leverage AI in your bidding strategies, understanding how AI can help with your marketing processes and make you more efficient. Eventually, and some organizations like us do this now, where we can create ads and ad copy on the fly that resonate with customers, different kinds of customers. This is something that was really leveraged during the last couple of presidential elections, where you saw ads with different kinds of copy and different kinds of images, thousands and thousands of kinds of them. And that can be leveraged for big e-commerce sites and things like that. If you're selling a product or service, it's probably better to control your message very specifically, but AI can be helpful in virtually every aspect of marketing.
And before you came on the podcast today, I was doing a little research on you, and also the industry and the work that you're doing, and I came across an incredibly powerful stat, and that was for most organizations, 20% of their clients deliver 80% of their revenue. So with that in mind, how can technology better help leaders identify that 20% customer base and marketing strategies that they can then execute to target and ultimately win more of them?
Oh, thank you. That's a great question. So it's actually really easy to determine which are the best 20%. They're the ones that make you the most money. So all you got to do is look in your QuickBooks or your accounting software and determine who are my top clients that deliver the most of my revenue, that are the easiest to service, that are in the right locations. You just sort of have to be reflective about that. Once you get those together, then it's one of the most powerful marketing strategies to say, how can I get more of those? How can I get more bigger clients that pay me more or have better margins? Or how can I, if I have one client that ends up referring the most leads to me, or strategic partner who refers the most leads to me, how can I get more of those? And so it's more of a strategy and reflection conversation to have with your team. And then from there to go back to marketing and say, okay, if we were to carve out part of our marketing budget, how can we focus that budget on having messages and marketing channels that resonate with them? And the exercise is incredibly powerful. It's one of the best ways to exponentially increase your revenue because you're already really good at it, and it's the part that delivers the most.
And I'd love it if you could share your thoughts as well on the evolving landscape of digital marketing and advertising. So is there any advice that you would give to any businesses or marketers listening that are looking to stay ahead of the curve in this fast-paced industry? Yeah, as we've already talked about the tech trends there, it's moving at breakneck speed at the moment, but the reality is it'll probably never move this slow again. So is there any advice that you would offer?
Well, I think that the most important thing is that you think about who is it that you want to reach.
Yeah.
I have companies contact us all the time who say, I need to do social media, or I need to be on LinkedIn, or I need a new website. And I always start with the question, well, why? Who are you targeting? Who do you want to get more revenue from? And where do they hang out? I was talking to a woman who has a construction company in New England, and she sells really high-end construction, for example. And she said, we've been doing these print magazine ads, and I was really thinking that we needed to do more in social media. And I said, okay, so your buyers are probably high net worth individuals. Do you think that they spend a lot of time on Facebook or Instagram? I don't know. I said, who do they talk to before they decide who should build their new home? Well, I think that they mostly talk to each other. Okay, well, that's a very, very good insight, because if they mostly talk to each other, how would you get in their orbit? Are you on the charity boards that they are a part of? Are you a part of the school boards or other organizations that they are part of? Because it sounds like they make decisions based on word of mouth referrals. So word of mouth and being a part of their orbit would be the marketing strategy I would suggest for them, as opposed to a tech company who's trying to find lots and lots of users. Those users are, smartphone users, then I'd be advertising on smartphones. So I think it's just important to be strategic about knowing where your buyers are.
And we are all in this period of uncertainty and economic downturn, etc. So I think so many businesses are looking at doing more with less. So is there any way or any advice on scaling businesses faster during this difficult period and doing that more economically by leveraging a fractional CMO, for example?
I'm so glad you asked. Yes, in fact, we have innovated in our marketing agency to do just that. Yeah. So we primarily serve companies who are $5 to $50 million. These companies have some real challenges because they cannot afford both a high-level CMO, Chief Marketing Officer, as well as seasoned marketers in an in-house team. It's usually a much larger company who can afford a senior level team, both at the leadership level and at the execution level. And so what my marketing agency does is offer fractional resources so that you get that high level talent, but you don't have to pay full price for a full FTE, either at the leadership leadership level or at the team level. And so I serve as a part-time CMO for several companies. I'm a part of the exec team. I coordinate with the heads of sales and product or service to execute the strategy. And what that does is it takes the pressure off of an owner who hires an agency who then effectively has to be the part-time CMO leading the agency, because they're missing that if you only hire an agency. So we just have a very flexible model that allows companies to get a senior level CMO and a team for about the cost of hiring a CMO.
Wow, it sounds like you're going to be incredibly busy. And if we look across the landscape, we've mentioned generative AI several times today, but 6 months ago, anybody outside of tech, or a lot of people outside of tech, had no idea what it was, but now everybody gets it. So I've got to ask, what's next for you? What is your big focus for the rest of the year? Is there anything you can share about what you're working on?
Sure. Well, we're honestly focused on serving more companies, helping them to scale their businesses faster. We've had several of our clients have great acquisitions where they've either acquired other companies or been acquired as a result of us being able to help them scale, 2 times, 3 times, 4 times, 5 times. And so this is the time of year when we typically are focused on having more companies join our client roster so that we can help them grow as well. And we leverage the things that I've talked about on this platform: messaging, creative, really building an infrastructure that helps them to scale faster for less money, more efficiently, so that they can hit their targets. We leverage generative AI, we leverage systems, and mostly we leverage processes to make sure that your marketing is efficient and executed on a monthly basis. So many companies, because they're unsure about their marketing, will do a marketing campaign for 2 months, for example, and then switch and do something completely different. Or they might switch every single month. And every single marketing program today takes 3 to 6 months really to get humming. And so the discipline that we put around a process to build a system to generate leads month in and month out on a consistent basis, hundreds or thousands of leads for our clients, takes discipline. And we're just very focused on doing that for our clients.
Well, I cannot thank you enough for coming on and sharing your insights and experiences with me today. But before I let you go, I'm going to ask you to leave everyone listening with one final gift. And that is a book that has inspired you or means something to you that you think would be really valuable to the listeners. I'll add that to our Tech Talks Daily Amazon wish list. But what book would you leave us with and why?
So there is a really great book by Donald Miller, the creator of Story Brand, called Marketing Made Simple. It is a quick read. It is a powerful look at marketing. And I'd suggest it for anyone who maybe isn't in a place to afford a marketing agency or think about some of the things that I've talked about, but it is a powerful way to think about marketing and business and reinforces the things that I've said here today.
Love it. And I'll get that added straight to our Amazon wish list. And as for yourself, for anyone wanting to find out more information, maybe even carry the conversation on with you that we started today, what's the best starting point for all things KEO marketing?
Thank you. You can see us at keomarketing.com or at LinkedIn with Sheila Kloefkorn.
Awesome. Well, I'll add those links to the show notes so people can find you nice and easily. Loved hearing more about your origin story there and the road that took you into the world of marketing and marketing technology, but also some of the insights you picked up along the way and sharing insights around the common mistakes that companies are making, how they can scale business faster and more economically by leveraging a fractional CMO, and also some of those big tech trends at the moment and generative AI, unsurprisingly, capturing all the headlines. But more than anything, Sheila, just thanks for joining me today and sharing your story.
Thank you, Neil. It's been such a pleasure to be on the podcast. I think the world of it. I listen often. You've got a great community that you've built, and it's really an honor to be on your show.
Well, that brings us to the end of another insightful episode of Tech Talks Daily. And I want to extend my sincerest thanks to Sheila for her incredibly kind words about the show. And it's great to have somebody on here that's listened to the podcast and knows what it's about. And I think it helped her share her invaluable marketing expertise to the audience too. So We did cover a lot there, didn't we? From common marketing mistakes to the power of a fractional CMO and the fascinating future of generative AI in marketing and advertising. We really did cover some truly eye-opening topics, but if you'd like to learn more about Sheila and her work at KEO Marketing, remember you can visit her website, keomarketing.com, and be sure to follow Sheila on social media for further insights too. But as always, dear listeners, it's been a pleasure to serve you today with a great episode, and a big thank you for tuning in. If you enjoyed today's episode, please make sure you subscribe, rate and review on your favourite podcasting platform. I know every podcaster asks it, but there is a good reason. It does help the show against those pesky algorithms. And if we beat the algorithms, we get more listeners, and that attracts even more guests. And finally, don't forget to join me again tomorrow for more discussions in the latest of technology and its fascinating discussions around technology and its impact on our world. So I'll be back again tomorrow, same time, same place. But thank you for listening today, and until next time, don't be a stranger.